So when I was given this piece to read, I love the pushes and pulls within the script. There's a big theme of erasing one's culture to try and fit into this world where you think you can find the desires that you want. I love this idea of forced assimilation and what you do in a situation like that, of trying to find yourself and trying to fit yourself into a mold that you don't quite fit. It's important to remember that it is okay to be proud of who we are and where we come from. And I think it's important for students to see stories like this, because the world is a lot. And I think sometimes we kind of get lost in all of the craziness that we try to mold ourselves into things to make our lives easier, when in reality it's just easier to be who we are. Code switching, it's really the same thing. You are having to hide parts of yourself to seem appeasing to those around you when you shouldn't have to. It's not a bad thing to be diverse and to be different.
And what drew me into this play was that it is a Latina story. I went to elementary school in Mexico, and I got to read some of her poetry when I was over there. I think people should come watch this play and bring their family, because this is a very powerful story about a very strong woman that has struggled a lot and had to endure a lot of things in her life, and she had to fit into this mold constantly. We usually find ourselves code switching more than we want to, and even as much as we don't want to do that, sometimes some people are like, they put a barrier for you, and you find obstacles in front of yourself again, time and again,
I got a message from our board, Karen, and she said, would you be willing to take on this role? So I said, I'll read it, let me get back to you. And I read the whole thing and I said, I love this character. Yes, please, I'll take him. He sort of reminds me of myself. He plays like this facade of like, oh, I can talk my way out of anything. Like, he's like smooth swagger, but as we get to know him, he has a lot more hiding inside of him than we realize. And once he starts to fall more in love with Juana, you get to see more of himself. I feel like a lot of people, even if they're not specifically Hispanic or anything, they can see this story and just really connect with it.
I was really drawn to this particular production because it's a play that's centered around a Mexican woman, and as someone who's Mexican myself, I am always really drawn to navigating that part of my culture. I think people should see this show because it reflects a light on this woman poet from the 17th century in Mexico that we don't know a whole bunch on. I feel like with Sor Juana, it was hard to get information on her because people just probably didn't think she was important enough, or she was just invested in only her poetry and probably didn't think other people would research her as this.